White Castle has more than 10,000 employees, and right around the corner is Obamacare. So what's going to happen? Joining us is Jamie Richardson. He is vice president at fast food chain White Castle. Good evening, sir.
Hey, Greta, how are you tonight?
Very well. 10,000 employees, that's a lot. 406 restaurants in 12 states, that's a lot, too. And they all have health care, over at least a number of them do?
Yeah, all of our full-time team members are offered health care. And for us, we really believe that good business, great food, and responsible citizenship should all go together. And that's why we've really made that a priority. We've offered health care since 1924, so it's a big commitment for us.
All right. What happens when Obamacare rolls in? How does that impact White Castle?
The biggest impact right now is we've been given this extra year for implementation. That's a great gift because we see it as a chance to fix the things that are most wrong with the law. Namely, that the full-time definition has shifted from what we've used in America for decades, from 40 hours to 30 hours in the law. That provision alone will increase our cost by 35%. So restaurants, retailers, everyone around the country has started to really share that story, and both parties are looking at that and understanding we need to have some common sense and good dialogue to really address the challenges that the law presents.
All right. It seems to me if that's going to happen, there are a couple options. One is that you raise prices 35% to accommodate the 35% increase in cost, which I don't think it's going to happen. I mean, that'd be tough on people who go to White Castle. The other is that people who are working 40 hours a week, if they're lowering the number down to 30 hours a week, in order to get out from underneath what the financial burden that you see with Obamacare, now they're going to get 29 hours a week, or 29 hours a week.
What we look at and see is there's a big temptation for a lot of retailers and restaurants to try to make it work somehow, some way. And that's why with this 1 year that's been granted as temporary relief, there's a real opportunity to have a good bipartisan discussion about how to fix what's wrong with the law. So that's what we're hopeful will happen. We know for our people it's important, and we know at White Castle it's important as a family-owned business.
All right, so how do you fix it, though? I mean, what are you looking for that fixes it so that White Castle can live with it?
We're really encouraged because there's actually bipartisan legislation that's been introduced in the Senate by Senator Collins and Donnelly, and then in the House, Congressman Lipinski and then Congressman Young have introduced bills that both address this issue head on, and it's something we can all agree on.
What's
this is about our neighborhoods. This is not just a place where we have buildings. This is where we live, where we work, where we raise our families.
I got
so this
that.
is about our communities and having as much full-time employment as possible.
All right, but what specifically are you asking them to do? What is it that you're looking for?
What this does is it addresses in the Affordable Care Act the provision that says 30 hours per week is full-time. So what it would do is change that to 40 hours per week, which has been the standard as it has been for decades now. And what that would allow us to do is to keep our definition of full-time right where it is, to have that same 5,000 of our 10,000 team members are full-time. So they would still be eligible for the health insurance benefit, and that would save us 35% in our cost. If it doesn't get changed, we're staring down the barrel of really, really difficult decisions.
What happens to the people who don't have the 40 hours at White Castle under that?
Well, at White Castle, our definition of full-time is 35 hours per week. But in the future, you could see a situation where you would be forced to have more people part-time, where our focus is on keeping as many people full-time as possible. You know, people come to White Castle. I just met a White Castle hero, met with him today, Jerry Young, who worked for us for 35 years and 45 years. And Jerry shares the tale about how that health insurance benefit was huge for him when he was raising his family. We want to provide the same benefits for as many people as possible for as long as we possibly can. And the provisions of the law really make it difficult to be able to do that in the way that we've been able to over the years.
Jamie, thank you. And we'll be watching to see what happens for White Castle. Thank you, sir.
Crave on, Greta.